Happy Saturday, folks. The lace plant just keeps amazing me. If you go look at the other videos, um, the part I just think is really cool is this leaf really likes that high flow rate. I mean, it's almost like it's just, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's very happy. And it's just cool how it moves because, I mean, if you look at the plant on the left, the Bacopa looks like it's getting beat up. I mean, it looks like it's in a storm. But the lace plant, I mean, it's designed for high flow. That's why it has the holes in the leaves. And it looks like it's just, I don't know how to describe it, but it just looks very happy and content. I mean, it's just a neat design. This plant, since I moved it over here where the FX5 is, I've got this leaf here that's still coming up. I've got this leaf. I mean, the shoots are unbelievable. The growth is unbelievable. You can go see the older videos, but I just wanted you guys to see. There's 3 leaves here that are old and beat up, and I thought about cutting them. And those leaves are the ones that were on the plant, and then I moved it into this high flow rate area. But it's just doing amazing. But yeah, this has all happened. I think when I moved it, I said that it would be better by October. You know, I'm not even out of September yet, and it just looks, I mean, I've actually got hopes that it may shoot up a flower stem. We'll see. But that's just pretty cool. It's almost hard to get it in the frame. I have to step back. But it's doing really well. And it just made me want to post this. Very cool. It's just neat how it bounces back. Fish are good, plants are good. I don't really have anything to add here. Except that I owe you guys some videos. And why don't I just touch on that community tank video? One thing that I do, and this is just how I approach it. Let me show you the book I've got. I've got a book. This is it. It's always, everybody has their favorite books. I've got the Amano book. I've got some other books that I really enjoy. But when you start realizing that the fish that you see in the pet store that might be in the same tank come from different places on the planet, and it really helps to understand some things. But this book, I'll show you guys really quick. Check out this. Those are German blue rams. That's an amazing picture. But this is the book I've got. I've had it forever. Maybe that's why I want discus. Those are just amazing. But there's the 2 authors with the consultant. I don't even know if you can find this anymore. It's so hard to find a bookstore or a book. And there's amazing German blue rams. But let me show you what this book does. And that's a killer fish too. Great pictures in this book. That definitely looks like a European tank, planted tank. You can see, or you can guess why I really love this book. And I really prefer heaters that go underwater and do this because you get better heat exchange. But anyway, let me get where the thing that I really liked about this book, and this is what it did, is there's another cool planted tank. That's amazing. Find it for you really quick. But it broke fish down into categories. So like the cichlids, okay? And it shows you where in the world cichlids come from. South America, the ones that you would probably know of, are the angelfish. lot of cichlids that are from Africa are going to be, your cichlid tank. The tanks that you see that, well, and here's the deal. The continent or the region of the world where these fish come from are totally different water extremes. So the lakes in Africa are, they don't have a lot of fresh moving water. They're usually lakes, anyway, I can't get into all the details because honestly I don't know, but to sum it up, they're lakes that are near large bodies of rock with high alkaline and high pH. Okay, you go down here to South America and you're pretty much talking about the Amazon River and that river basin. You're talking about a lot of decaying wood in the water. Peat is a common trick that a lot of people use to lower pH. If you get the Tetra Black water, that'll lower your pH. And the river water from the Amazon, even if you get it clear without mud kick up, it's got a lot of tannins in it because of all the, it's going through a jungle. So that's going to lower the pH and cause it to have tan. But and here's one of the fish there's a cichlid from the famous lake in Africa. Anyway, and there's a picture of, this is in Africa as well. So the thing to remember with some of these is, like, if I look at this fish and I want to see the max size it gets, I look at the water temperature, okay? This is a species tank. It's basically telling you that it will not do well with others. That is a pretty fish, though. I don't have this fish. But, and I've never really had a cichlid tank. And here's what's interesting. This is South America. So the pH is probably going to be lower. I did not look. Where was the pH? That's interesting. I didn't see it there. But like some of these, and the big thing too with Oscars is, and I hate when you go to pet stores, a lot of them try to do this more and more now, but the most important thing is to look at max size. That's a big fish, 14 inches. That's over a foot. That is a very large fish. And cichlids by nature are aggressive. Even the small ones. Oh, and look here's rainbow fish. That's pretty. But the key thing I usually look for is I try to figure out the max size. Then I just go and read on the fish. And I get an idea of fish that I want and certain fish that I like. And so here's what's really interesting. I've never had really good luck with a 3-spot gourami. I know people that really like them. They are a pretty fish. I've had much better luck with these guys. They're very peaceful and less aggressive of the gouramis. And also the dwarf gourami, if it's in, I don't see it in here. It's somewhere. But the trick when you're doing a community tank, and I'll let you guys let me know where you want this to go, but like the live bearing, so the live bearing would be the mollies, the swordtails, guppies. I feel like I'm leaving some out. And species of fish in that range. This is kind of what it looks like. This is where they grew up. This is their hometown. And what's really interesting is the live bearers, they're only found here. They're like, Florida, Mexico, Central America, and then out here on the outer regions of South America. But they're nowhere else in the world. But here's what's funny. If I showed you one, it's kind of a platy, a molly, but these are a great fish. Oh, and it says here, so this is a fish that you can add to a community tank. And when this book, what's really neat, if you go and read it, like it'll say, community tank, keep a small peaceful species. And so like the black molly community tank, there's a lot of fish here that if you go and research them, they'll tell you, it'll do well in a community tank. If you get into like the cichlids, is this not a cool picture? Anyway, all right, but that's what I try to do. I try to look at, for me, if I have a community tank, I try to figure out where on the planet, what body of water I want to build around for my community tank. Some people do that with a cichlid tank. Check this out, the catfishes. Here's where catfish come from. They're everywhere. I mean, all over Asia, South America, but look at this stream. Is that not a cool picture? Loaded. Anyway, that's a river in South America. I just think that's cool looking. But, and so, for example, I've got this catfish. I've always been fascinated with them. And it just tells you where they're kind of from. Community tank and the temperature. And I'm actually keeping a little warmer than that. These guys don't really like low pH as much. But what you'll find, and this is the other thing that's interesting, what you'll find with most species that are bred in captivity is they're very resilient to pH. And I don't know why that is. So the discus I have are Asian raised, or Pacific, I think is what I've heard the phrase. But these guys are pretty resilient compared to what most people talk about with discus being sensitive and needing temperature and needing everything a certain way. These guys don't have any problems getting food from the rainbows. They're in a heavily planted, well-stocked community tank. And, I feel like they hold their own. So, and, they don't have any problem. And the funny thing, I think, with the dither fish in a community tank, I don't think you have as much aggression the more fish you have in a tank. And you can go look at that. The cichlid guys that do the big rock tanks, and they're highly aggressive. They call that dither fish. Where if you have an alpha in the tank and just a few small fish, it will just keep pounding them. One thing I did learn the hard way, and I'm not an expert with angelfish. I've had them in the past. I've really enjoyed angelfish. The problem that I had is I had a few angelfish in here, and then the double black angels, if you go look at some of those videos, and then they paired off, and they hunted down the other angelfish in this large planted tank to the point where they were almost going to kill it. And I just took it back to my local pet store and just said, here, you guys keep this, sell it to somebody. I said, I just hate to see it get killed, and I don't have another tank to put it in. Because if I put it in this tank, it would eat every shrimp I have. But the challenge in a community tank is thinking long term. What's the max size of the fish? What fish go well together? What kind of tank do you want to build? I can't, this is an Amazon-based tank, so I can't have a lot of rocks in this tank and do a rock structure. And the reason being, well, I could put some certain kind of rocks in here. I could do like a slate rock, which I've actually got a piece in there. It's a small piece. It's kind of in the back. If you see that little red right there. But, and I was actually using that as when I had the blue rams, they really liked to lay eggs on that. But the point is, the normal heavy rock that you see in like a cichlid tank, that's going to keep buffering up your pH, pushing the pH up. You can't do this in this kind of tank. This kind of tank, although I got fish from all over, the glass cats are from, Asian based, the rainbows are definitely not South American, or the rasboras, which are a great fish. They're Asian based. But a lot of the other fish are tetras. And so, You know, I've got this kind of tetra. That's a black skirt tetra. There's a lamp-eye in there. Where'd he go? Hatchet fish or tetra. The way you know you have a tetra, by the way, and it's easier to see with this guy, if you look between the top dorsal fin and the rear fin, there's a tiny little fin that has a bump on it. And the only fish that ever have that fin are in the family of tetras. And it's always there. Even on your neons and cardinals, you just have to look really hard to see it. But those are always native of South America for whatever reason. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to do some more on this. You guys let me know what you think, what you want. I'm going to show you a great tool that I use that's online in another video for how I figured out if my tank was stocked correctly. And I think, honestly, stocking a tank is the hardest thing. That's just me. A lot of the rules that you used to have on stocking were old equipment, old filters, old, not planted tanks, that kind of thing. I think if you have the bio load at a really good level, the fish and the plants help promote good growth and healthy growth in each other, if that makes sense. But anyway, enough of that. Not trying to do a lecture. I will post this up. You guys let me know where you want. I'll just post in comments where you want to take it, but I'll definitely show you the tool. I may do that today. I'll put a video up of the tool that I used, and it's a great online tool, and I'll put a link to it, and I'll just show you how I used it. So anyway, you guys take care, and the lace plant's kicking. So great to get out a video today. Let me know if this community tank video suffices, or where you guys want to take it. But when you research your fish, and here, let me show you this book. This is the book that I was looking at. I didn't have a name, but that was the book. You need a good resource reference, and you can do it online as well. A lot of great references online, but just start Googling the fish that you want. Think about how many you need. Figure out whether the fish needs a lot or a few. Obviously, if you have like a beta, you don't want a lot. There's those lamp-eye tetras I was looking for earlier. And, they kind of cut up, but plenty of room to hide and a lot of fish around. But, like the rubber lip plec, I know a lot of people that, they can't wait to get a really cool plec. And, you can drop hundreds of dollars on like a royal spotted, whatever. I've seen them go for 2 or 3, which is crazy. But they're a pretty fish. But here's the thing. I wanted a community tank. I don't want a plec in this tank that's going to get 2 feet long. I just don't. It's a 120-gallon tank. It's 4 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. If the fish is going to be so long that it barely can't be sideways, if it's so long, let me turn this light off. Kind of tangented. But this is from here to here is 2 feet. I would never suggest in a community tank, or any tank for that matter, that you get a fish that will get bigger than front to back. Because then it won't even really have room to turn around, if that makes sense. But I tend to avoid big fish, even though I know a lot of people think this is a big tank. But it's all perspective. But I think the challenge with smaller tanks, especially like the nano tanks, I think there's a lot more challenge and art in those kind of tanks. And I think there's a really cool species fish out there that you can put in them. That it's just a great little tank, especially with, I think the thing that's really changed in our hobby in the last, 5-10 years are the freshwater shrimp. And, these guys are really fun to watch. It's like having a little ant farm. Man, I got a lot of snails in there. I need to get them out. But they're really fun to watch. And then you have little species fish like this, and it's just entertaining. It's really neat. And this is a lot lower maintenance than the 120 heavily stocked. So, all right, enough rambling. I got to wrap this up. But you guys let me know where you want to take it. And I'll put a link of the website that I used to figure out how to stock and what fish to stock. It's a great website. I would highly recommend it. See you guys.